Can you believe it? I have been a homeowner for 3 years. As of last month, 2024, I have now been paying a mortgage for 3 years. So in today's video, I would like to share with you some things that I wish I would have known, some things I wish I would have done different, and mistakes that I feel like I have made during my process of purchasing a new home, in hopes that it will definitely help someone as you are on your journey of home ownership. So first and foremost, I would like to say that this video was 100% inspired by Diana Marie. Thank you so much for posting your video and sharing with everyone your experience as becoming a first-time homeowner. So I thought, like, okay, she's been in her home for a year. I've now been in my home for 3 years, and I did purchase a new construction, which is a new build, and I thought that it would be good to also share my experience as well, to see maybe if it could help someone who is looking to become a homeowner. The more information that you have, the better to help your journey as a home buyer. And as she said in her video, everyone's experience is different, depending upon, what you're looking for, your family size, your income level, the state that you live in. All of that definitely plays a part. And it is definitely different for a lot of people. So thank you, Diana, for inspiring this video. And I'm going to be sharing with you guys 5 mistakes that I feel like I made, or 5 things that I would do different if I were doing this process all over again. So let's start with number 1. Not working with a realtor. I definitely wish that I would have had someone in my corner to advocate for me in purchasing a home. And I know you're probably wondering, like, what? You didn't have a realtor? Well, when you're purchasing a new build, at least here in California, I don't know about any other state, but here in California, you are dealing with the sales agent. So you go to these new construction homes, they have a sales office, you go in, you talk to the sales agents, and you pick a model home and you say, hey, I want this model. And then they go ahead and put in the application for you. And then you're then working with the finance company who's working with that builder. And that is essentially what I did. So there were no negotiations or anything like that happened. I didn't have anyone really like advocating for me with the finance company. I don't even know if that was an opportunity, but I wish that I would have had a realtor who would have been able to give me just more information about the home buying process, giving me more options about different homes that was in the area that I was looking for. And I think that it's really important that you do get someone that you trust and someone who will walk you through the process. And there's a lot of things that they know as realtors that they would be able to help you with. So I'm very happy with my home, the home that I chose. And just a little fun fact here is, taking a little 2.5. I did have a realtor, but my realtor fired me. Can you believe it? Yeah, my realtor fired me because I didn't bid on the first house that I wanted. I decided that I didn't want that house, even though I love the house, perfect house, but it wasn't in the area that I wanted it in. So because I didn't bid on the house, he fired me. So I was like, that's fine, because I have to buy a house anyway. So you missed out on commission or whatever. So anyway, who knew that the realtor could fire you? I wasn't difficult to work with. I was just like, oh my gosh, I love the house, but the area has to work for me. Like, that is important. I want to be able to walk outside and 100% love what I'm looking at surrounding me, right? It wasn't a bad area that I was going to move into. It's just that it wasn't city enough for me. I come from the city and I needed my surroundings to look like city life, right? So anyway, having a realtor, I believe, can benefit you in so many ways. Negotiations, maybe they could have negotiated for me some upgrades in my home or just anything like that. So I really wish that I would have sought out some professional assistance in a realtor. So that kind of brings me into the next mistake or thing that I wish I would have considered is living in an HOA community. Where I do love the community that I live in, there are pros and cons to living in an HOA community. However, there was an opportunity for me to move to a community that did not have HOA fees. And the only reason why I didn't move to that community is because the homes, they were single family homes and they were a little bit more in cost than the condo that I moved into. But what I didn't consider was that, yes, the home may be a little bit more. However, by me moving to my condo, I now have an HOA fee of $266 a month. I could have purchased a single family home so let me back up. So if you take my mortgage and you take the HOA fee and you add that together, I could have purchased a home that was a little bit more expensive that didn't have the HOA fee, and I just would have attached it onto my mortgage. So I wish that I would have thought about it that way, because instead of me purchasing a condo, I could have possibly purchased a single family home with a front yard and a backyard, which is something that I do want now. And I just didn't consider that. So I would recommend that when you're looking to purchasing a home, if you're comfortable, look at the HOA, and all of that is important, because you can't decide that you don't want to pay an HOA fee. I learned that. Yeah, I learned that quick. You have to pay the HOA fee. So if I would have thought like, okay, well, I can get this house, instead of me buying a house for, I'm just throwing numbers out there, these are blanket numbers. Let's say my condo was $300,000. I could have potentially went and bought a single family home for $350,000, and I would have been paying the same amount. So definitely consider that when moving, in regards to the HOA fees. The HOA fees are a lot here in California. So that's something I wish I would have considered. The next thing that I wish I would have done, and I really do take this as a mistake that I didn't do, was getting all of my upgrades at the time that my home was built. And when I'm talking about upgrades, I'm talking about my flooring and purchasing a better upgraded carpet. I wish I would have done that when the house was being built, because now I still want those upgrades, but I have to go out and get someone to come back in and then fix and upgrade my floors. And it's the same exact company who put the floors in when my house was being built. So in my opinion, it's just an inconvenience, because now I have to have people coming in, and it's going to cause me to not be able to use one of my bathrooms. And I wish I just would have thought while I was in that process of choosing what upgrades I wanted, etc., to say, okay, my floor is only going to cost me $2,000. If I take that $2,000 and I spread it across over 30 years, it's not going to cost that much in regards to my mortgage. It's not going to cause my mortgage to increase, a whole lot more if I just get that upgrade done now. But I was so stuck on my mortgage being a certain number that I didn't even do the calculations. I was just like, nope, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. I'll have somebody else come in and do it at that time. So I would recommend just getting your upgrades during the time. If it's not going to be that much of a cost difference, you might as well just get it done so that it's not a headache once you move into the home. Unless you're going to get those upgrades for free. There are a lot of people out here putting down their own floors. They're upgrading their own backsplashes and all that. Like, I'm not that girl. So if you can do it for free, then definitely don't get the upgrade. Do it for free. But that's not me. And so I should have just did it once the house was being built. The next thing that I really regret, now this I regret, And I really know that this was a mistake. And this was spending my tax money. Let me explain. So once I purchased my home, I was unaware that when they assessed the home, they only assessed the dirt and the land rather. So I was paying taxes on the land only, and I wasn't paying taxes on the actual land with the home on it. So after my first year in the home, I got a check from my mortgage company. It was about $6,000. And then my mortgage reduced by like $400 a month. And that is because they did some fluctuating in the taxes. Now, I didn't know any of this, right? I'm just like, oh shoot, they overcharged me. I got money back. We balling. We balling. And I know that I've talked about this a million times, but I promise you I regret it. So because I thought it was just an overage, and I didn't know that I was possibly going to need that money later, I spent the money. And at that time, I wasn't managing my money, my finances, or anything like that. So I balled out. Can't even tell you what I did with it. But anyway, I spent the money. Then a year later, I get a letter in the mail saying, hey, from the city, saying you owe us the supplemental tax money. You owe this money to us. And you know, when I get it, I'm like, what is this letter? Because I'm paying taxes to my mortgage company for them to pay you guys. So hold up, let me call my mortgage company. Like, you're not paying my bills and I'm paying you. And the mortgage company was like, oh, that's supplemental taxes, which is something totally different. And I'm like, okay, so what is that? So I was then educated on what supplemental taxes are. And usually it happens when you are moving into a new build, a new construction home. If the home is already there and the community is already, you know, established, then it pretty much doesn't really happen to, you know, those people. I don't believe. I'm not an expert in this area. So I'm like, okay, so why did you even send me the money back? You should have kept the money in my compound account. So when the city came back looking for that money, you could have just paid them and not reduced my mortgage. It was a whole mess. And now to this day, I am still dealing with these supplemental taxes. As you guys seen in my debt-free workbook, my debt-free journey, I'm still paying off these taxes. I'm dealing with these taxes still. So I had called the city and I worked something out with the city. And I said, okay, I'm going to pay you guys over the course of, I think it was like 5 years. And we were on a schedule. But my mortgage company sees it as a liability. And my mortgage company paid the supplemental taxes, and then my mortgage increased. I know this sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. What I'm saying is make sure that you know when it comes to these taxes, because I'm still paying and I'm about to pay them off, hopefully within the next couple of months. But make sure if you are purchasing a new build home, a new construction home, that you have money set aside for those supplemental taxes. If you're moving into a community that's brand new and it's like an up and coming community, of course the taxes are going to increase. So that's my 1 and 2 in regards to the taxes. So I definitely regret spending that money, and I wish that I would have known the information so that I could have put that money aside. And the very last mistake that I made, or thing, or wish that I would have done different, is I wish that I would have believed in myself. I did not believe in myself. If you watched my debt-free journey video, the very first video that I did when I wrote out like how much debt it was that I have, in my story time, you might have remembered that I talked about me not believing that I would ever be a homeowner. And so when it was time for me to look for my home, I still had that doubt. 100%. I had the doubt. I was looking for homes, but I still thought something's going to come up where I'm not going to qualify for the home. Something's going to come up where the mortgage is going to be way too much. Something's going to come up on my credit. Something's going to happen to where I'm not going to get this house, because I had already believed for so many years that I would never be a homeowner. And so I took that doubt into my home buying experience. And because I didn't believe that God was really going to do this thing for me, I went into it like timidly. I didn't ask for what I wanted. I got everything that I wanted, but I went into it with a scarcity mindset, if you will. I didn't think that I would be able to live in the area that I live in now. I felt like I wasn't, I'm not going to say worthy enough for it, but I just felt like I didn't, and I don't even want to say deserve, because I feel like I deserved it, but I just felt like I couldn't have it. I felt like, other people get these things. Other people get the house, the new house, the great neighborhoods. Like, other people get that. I don't get that. Other people get that. And so I just had doubt. And I remember telling my mom when we first came to look at the community, the way that it looked, and I live in a very nice area. I was like, I was telling her, I was like, in the back of my mind, I didn't think I was going to get this house. I didn't believe it until I actually got the keys. That's when I knew, okay, it's mine. So having that doubt was not good. But I believe that God had to show me that if I trust in Him, that I can have anything that I want. And that is the reason why I think my faith is the way that it is now, because I did the work, and He showed me that if you do the work, I will send the blessing. I will send the overflow. I will send the desires of your heart. And now when I go through things, even if I feel like I can't have it, which I really don't feel that way anymore, I know that if I put in the work, if I put boots to the ground, God is going to honor that. And so I want to say to you, be that radical believer. Like, believe that you can have anything that you want in this world if you work for it. And my mom told me a story that the same thing happened to her. However, she has ultimate faith. And the realtors kept telling her, no, you can't live in this area. You don't make enough. You don't make enough. You don't make enough. And God gave her a house in the very area that people said that she could not move in because of the status of that neighborhood. So I will say, go into it knowing that you can have whatever it is that you want. And now that I've been in my home for 3 years, I love my home. However, I do want more property. And before, even after I bought the home, I was like, okay, I hear people talk about my forever home, my forever home. And I was just like, well, this is probably going to have to be my forever home, because I don't think that I'm going to be able to qualify for another house. That was still that doubt in me. And now I'm like, oh shoot, let me get my credit together. Let me put the boots to the ground. Let me get to work, because I want another house and I'm going to get my other house. Period, point blank. And it's going to happen. So I know that I probably rambled, but the lesson is to believe, have radical faith, and go into it knowing that you can have what you want. Believe it. I talk about it all the time. Believe it. And I'm also working on that myself. But I hope that this video was helpful. I hope all of the tips and tricks that, well, not tricks, but the tips that I gave you will be helpful for you in your journey. If you are a first-time home buyer, or if you are a home buyer, if you are a realtor, if you are anyone who loves this home buying stuff, please leave down in the comments some suggestions, some tips, and different things like that that will help other people who may not have the information. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this video, and I will see you in the next one. Go be great. Peace out.
Do you believe? a party. We're all on a roll tonight. Women be sparky, all the men be dancing right.